Okay, my name is Mikael Rask. I work as a product owner for CRM systems at Comhem. Seems to work?
This seems to be the right one.
Great, thank you. Comhem is quite a large company. We are connecting close to 2 million households in Sweden. And that brings a lot of challenges for us. One of them being how to best support our customers and give them the best experience possible. This is something that we worked really hard with for the last couple of years. And today we have more than 700 people that are answering close to 5 million calls yearly. But to be honest, our customer service agents hasn't always got the best opportunity to give our customers the service that they deserve. Their support system has been way too many and a way too low quality. And this is something that we have worked to fix on 2 various occasions. And I will give you some insight to the learnings that we've shed from those experiences. We will start on the 26th of April in 2009. Imagine that we're at the customer service head office in Härnösand, and you can feel the despair in the air. Our agents are desperately struggling with their support system, and the team leaders are running around trying to help them. Today, you just released the one thing that we thought would fix everything, a new off-the-shelf system that would bring us into a new age and remove our historical legacy. One system to rule them all. I'm sure you heard about the police project PUST. Well, we did our PUST. And to be honest, the conditions were never really perfect for this to succeed. But we can analyze it to get an insight into the learnings. Like many off-the-shelf implementations, this was a traditional waterfall project. The requirement lists were long, and the customer involvement was close to 0. The project was great for delivering output. We delivered tons of code, tons of features, and tons of handover documents. Everything was released in one big bang. What we didn't do as good was to try to analyze the outcomes that those output would bring. But that soon became apparent after the major release, when many of our key performance indicators that we want to keep at a low level went through the roof. Our management team reacted surprisingly quick and took the decisive decision to shut the project down. Obviously, this cost a lot of money, really no good. But even worse, we ended up in a situation where our users, the agents that are trying to support the customers, were unhappy. And hence, our customers were unhappy. Let's fast forward a few years, because this is no good place to be. 6th of November in 2013. We're back at customer service head office, and it seems to be like any other day. Our agents are having great conversations with our customers, and the team leaders are walking around with a smile on their face. The only thing that would give you a clue that we've just released a new system that replaced Siebel would be the people that are celebrating in the kitchen area. 1 year earlier, we finally got the opportunity to do a remake of the failed CRM implementation. At this point of time, we had gone a long way on our company-wide lean journey and had grown into an agile development organization. My role as a program manager was to work closely with the product owners from business to deliver the best product possible. This time we would do it right. And by doing it right, I do not mean that we would do it on a shorter time span with fewer people or even with better quality. What we would look at is the one metric that really matters, and that is to bring value to our users. So we decided early that we needed to shift our focus from features to needs. The needs of the users would be what guided us. It would be how we sliced our project so that we could deliver value continuously by adapting the support system for one need at a time. We were scared by the many polls that showed that enterprise support systems is not really used in a large scale. There are so many features that does not bring value at all. So we wanted desperately to find some sort of way to identify the value early and to be innovative along the way. So we took inspiration from the Lean Startup movement. Lean Startup basically states that a project plan is just a list of assumptions, and you need to put your time to verify if those assumptions are correct or not. This is done by the minimum viable product. In our case, this translates to the smallest thing possible that we can do to verify if our assumption on how we can support a specific need for our users is correct or not. Initially, we did this with a lot of collaboration with the users, the people that are talking to our customers, to get an understanding of what they thought that they needed. We used paper prototypes and we used clickable wireframes. But we soon learned that we would get an even higher level of learning if we delivered something that they could use with actual customers and then measure how it was used. Because believe it or not, the users do not always know what they need. So we started doing small, minimum viable products, really rough on design, rough on user experience, and as few integration as possible, to deliver something to a small group of users. Could be one or two, could be several teams, depending on the learning that we were seeking. But we delivered something to them and worked closely with them to collaborate. All of them would get something that no one else had got access to, and sometimes we would get different variations of the same functionality to different users so that we could get an even higher level of learning if we were doing the right thing or not. So the purpose of the MVP is definitely feedback. We will create some value because we are actually fulfilling the need of users, but it's feedback that we are searching for. We want to get an understanding if we're moving in the right direction or if we need to make small changes to correlate our course. One thing that we would definitely like to know as well is whether our assumptions were so fundamentally flawed that we should not have put time to develop this at all. That is a learning that we would like to see as soon as possible to make sure that we put our time on something that brings actual value. Usually, the learnings from the MVP goes into a second iteration. We create what we call the minimum lovable product. The minimum lovable product, it's still minimum in the sense that we try to do as little as possible, but we need to get the learnings that we've got from the MVP and bring that into the system to enhance and tweak the functionality, maybe even add more functionality that wasn't even there from the beginning, based on the learnings from the first user, so that we can deliver something to all users that brings the most value in the shortest time span. The users are either added every one at a time, or we add them one at a time, depending on if we have a need to learn, if the performance is good enough for the system, or whether we need to enhance it along the way. By doing this, we hope to create value as soon as possible. But still, feedback is important. We need to measure how the system is being used to make sure that the assumptions that we had regarding the value that we could create is actually fulfilled. Because usually we still need to tweak the features a little bit so we can reach the value. And if we do not measure the outcomes, the output in sort of features does not really matter at all. It is the outcomes in terms of changed user behaviors, or business impact, or customer satisfaction that is the only reason for developing the system. If there is a business case for doing so, and if the cost is low enough, we will put some frosting on the cake and remove the minimum from the minimum lovable product, hence creating a lovable product. The full purpose of our development cycle is to create opportunity for continuous innovation along the way. We know that long lists of requirements are bad, not only due to the fact that they usually have to redo the requirement when you actually end up implementing it, but also due to the fact that they have a frighteningly bad impact on innovation along the way. We want to make sure that we create the right system in the sense of system that is actually being used and valued by the users. To summarize, Siebel was replaced by our newly developed system called ALO. We went from focusing from a waterfall model into a model of continuous innovation and experimentation to make sure that we create a value and we're innovative along the way. We went from focusing on output and being surprised by outcomes to instead focus on outcomes and make sure that our output delivered the outcome in the desired way, and continuously measure that each of our outputs made sure that our important key performance indicator moved in the right directions. But most important of all, we had unhappy users. And we tried to collaborate as closely as possible along the way, so we know that we're going in the right direction. But we got the best proof that we had done the right thing when we did our yearly poll for all the systems, or for all the users. They were asked about all the systems they are used, on how they thought about the system. And we could happily see that ALO got the highest score that any systems ever had got. And we moved from unhappy users to happy users. I would like to speak more about this and other learnings that we had in the open space session. Thank you.